This Friday, Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan are back to switch things up in Disney's Freakier Friday.
Totally. Yes.
It's an absolute riot, and the only movie that can be described as
So much weirder than the last time.
What last time?
it's the frequel
You ready?
we've been waiting for.
That absolutely slays.
What deeply out of touch old person came up with that?
You did.
Wow.
Don't miss the comedy event of the summer for all ages. Disney's Freakier Friday in theaters this Friday. Get tickets now. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested.
It's Wednesday Addams. I see you're trying to distract yourself from your own banal thoughts. Let me help. Here's a recording thing made of my latest root canal.
Wednesday, Season 2, begins August 6th, only on Netflix.
Hey all, I'm Jamie Lynn Sigler, a mom, actor, and advocate. I know how overwhelming it can be trying to decide which treatment is right for you. I've been there. But you should know you're not alone. You can do this. Start with some research, talk to the community, and most importantly, don't be afraid to ask your doctor questions. You might find results that speak for themselves. That's how I landed on Kesimpta. Ask your doctor if Kesimpta, ofatumumab, could be right for you. You can check out the details at kesimpta.com.
Pie in the Sky Media. This series contains adult language and descriptions of graphic violence throughout. Listener discretion is advised.
Okay, recording. 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome back, Criminal Mischief Nation, to another bonus episode of Criminal Mischief with Carolyn and Branden. I'm the Branden of Carolyn and Branden, here as always with someone that we really don't deserve. But speaking of the talented Carolyn Osorio, but yet here she is again to grace us.
I am the Carolyn of the duo.
Yes.
Yes.
How are you?
Yes. I'm doing great.
Yeah.
I'm doing awesome. How about you?
I'm okay. I'm a little tired. Again, we're getting this episode to everybody a little bit late. I was in Reno for the weekend. One of my children both of my kids are on travel volleyball teams. My oldest at a tournament in Reno for the weekend. So it was a madhouse of tall teenage girls running around the biggest little city in the world, with their game faces on, all right, just wanting to, there's no like friends when you have athletic kid, right? They're like,
there's no crying in baseball.
No, it is. I will put my foot on your throat and keep it there until we win, kind of. Yeah, at this level, and they did great. I almost got banned. There was a bad call, and I kind of lost. Yeah, but it was a terrible call. Listen. In kids volleyball, you have a game or you have a work assignment when you're not playing. A work assignment means that you ref the game. All right, two kids from a team that's not currently playing sit behind the thing and keep the score, and then two more act as opposite corners as line judges. Okay, they call the balls in or out. Now these are kids.
Oh my gosh, Branden!
Hold on. It's a lot of pressure, and I know it, which is why the adult who's at the net, the actual referee, is the final arbiter of these contested calls, okay? And you see it all the time, because sometimes a kid will be like distracted by a bumblebee and go, oh, look at that. And they'll miss a call and be like, oh God, I'm sorry. Okay, cool, you're a kid, we get it. And the referee will take care of it. At a really pivotal moment in a game, there was a ball that was out, Carolyn, by 2 feet. It was, everyone in the building knew that the ball was out, okay? And the kid on the line, she wasn't paying attention. And she went, in. Okay? And I felt like McEnroe for a second. Like I think you were. I was like, I know for a fact that.
Did you throw your racket into the net?
I know for a fact that the referee saw it. Easy, going to be overturned. And the ref upheld it. I'm like, what? And then I spring out of my chair. And right up to the spot where the ball landed. I'm like, it landed right here. It was this far. Yeah, I'm not proud of it. I'm not at all proud of it.
I know, but did your daughter want to, like...
give me a big hug and say, you're the best dad in the world? Yeah. the whole team was completely behind me, except for the coach. Coach was like, yo, you can't do that. And the ref singles me out. Singles me out.
What?
Okay.
Well,
Well,
of course,
single
not
yourself
us
out.
on the
Make
field.
the right call. Make the right call. It was obvious. The other
God.
team.
So your daughter really was okay with this?
Of course she was.
Oh my
The
gosh.
other team,
Well, you know what?
Carolyn, hold on. The other team had already changed into their serve receive defense because they knew that the ball was out. Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
Everybody
Mhm.
knew that the ball was out.
I
Except
know,
for
but sometimes in these power situations, it doesn't matter if you're right. It just is like you're not, as parents, supposed to say anything these
I
days.
know.
I'm with you where I'm like,
100%.
I'm gonna cheer for my son, but I cheer for the other players too. I mean, I've even like cheered for like the other team because this
Same
is
with
not
if they
like
make a
if they
kick-ass
make this
defensive play
playable.
against us or an awesome of course. I
Yes, but
acknowledge.
okay, so my husband's on his not my husband, I'm sorry. My
Mhm.
son is on his high school soccer team
Yeah.
and my husband and I walk around the track as we're watching,
Yeah.
And so, my husband was like ahead of me and I happened to be right on the other side where his teammates were and the coach and Patrick made this
Yeah.
incredible play. And I happened to
Uh-huh.
be right there, right where all his, and I'm like, ah! And I'm like, and of course he was like, afterwards comes home and he's like, Mom. And I'm like, it was I couldn't contain it. Like I couldn't, like normally I try to contain it
Yeah.
and not be one of those freaks, but I really I was just like, and I
It's
get
great.
it. Like
Exciting
I
seeing your kid do well,
it is, but he was like, also when you're a 16-year-old boy, or teen, you
Yeah.
don't want your mom like doing that right next to you. Anyway, and I said, "Listen, okay, I'm done. I'm not going to go to your games because I can't control
Mhm.
that I'm proud of you in that moment." And he's like, "Okay, Mom. Okay, okay, okay." It's like
See, I learned, it was a big lesson. I'm not like a super enthusiast. There are some parents that are fucking lunatics.
they
Okay.
are, and I don't want to
Yeah.
be next
And
to those.
I am not one of those. I was for a moment over the weekend and I acknowledge that. I'm not proud of it. I'm not ashamed of it. It happened. I wouldn't do it again. Okay. Like
Mhm.
I learned my lesson because it could have harmed the team. Right.
Right.
Because if parents
Mhm.
act up, they could dock the team that's, because they can't, what are they going to fucking do to me? Get out of the
Mhm.
building. Okay. I'll get out of the building.
Mhm.
There's a live stream I could watch on my phone. Right. So it's not right. They can't really, I'm not going to go to, volleyball tournament jail. Right. There isn't
Mhm.
anything like, um,
Mhm.
but they could punish the team. So, and that's the last thing I want to happen. So I learned my lesson. It was a yellow card. That's fine. Badge of honor, and we
Okay, are you? I'm not really sensing that you learned a lesson
there's
here.
contrition. Listen, there's a level of contrition, and yes, I won't do it again. But I bet that referee next time will maybe be paying a little bit more attention or something. I don't know.
Oh my
Maybe
gosh! Oh my
not.
gosh! You
But
psycho!
listen,
You are
but
so psycho.
our team won the tournament though, which is great. So
Congratulations! That's
it was
that's
a speed
really
bump. Yeah, it
exciting.
was a little
That's
speed
really really exciting.
bump.
That's
And then and Reno's a cool town. I'll tell you, Reno's a super cool
what?
town. Yeah.
I haven't been to Reno
Oh yeah.
since it's the first trip my husband and I ever went on together. When
To
we first
Reno?
when we first met to
For
Reno. Yeah,
what?
just to
Did you lose a
go.
bet? Just say,
Okay, you just said it's the best place you've been.
but not as like a first romantic trip when you're dating
No,
somebody.
I
I
don't
mean,
know. We were like 20, or he was 22, I was 20. I mean, it's not like we had a lot of like, okay, I'm not going to justify the
no,
fact
but
that
like,
we went.
no, it's
I don't know why we chose Reno, and clearly it didn't make an impression as to like wow, how the story backstory
it's
came
weird.
about.
It's just be like, hey, I'm 22 and you're 20, and it's just so new and beautiful and exciting, and fuck it, let's go to Reno. No, there's no.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't
Okay.
just stop.
No, it just seems
Okay.
like Reno's somewhere you end up. It isn't somewhere you
Well,
choose.
it really was. It
Yeah.
really
Okay.
was a place that I don't know what the backstory was.
Yeah.
And it was that place. And actually, it was a really good learning lesson because I'm like, I never want to go again, and I've never been. You
See,
know,
I'd go back.
not just to the gambling epicenter part, but like I
Yeah.
love
Yeah,
Tahoe. We've had
downtown's kind of fucked up, but I would totally go back because from our hotel, we were staying at this really cool hotel, really close to the airport, and just the mountainscapes around. There were still snow
Mhm,
caps like right
mhm,
there. You could drive to snow in like 20 minutes. Um,
mhm.
and it's so close to Tahoe. It's 3.5 hours from San Francisco. I mean,
No,
it's
no, no. And I wasn't dissing on Reno.
yeah.
It's just the gambling piece of it. And this was probably I don't know if they've revamped it since then, but
No,
it was
no, it's still
really
awful.
old and really like and that's that kind of stuff like I can't just be in a place and not analyze if it's like sad and like you know
No,
what I mean?
listen, and myself and a lot of other parents, you have to choose to make those teaching moments there because to get anywhere in a gambling city hotel, you have to walk through casinos, okay? And a lot of the times we have to be at the tournament at like 7 in the morning. So that means you're up at 6, you're calling the Uber at 6:30, you're in front of the hotel. And so you're walking through these casinos at
Mhm.
6 a.m. and you still see these fucking lifers just sitting
Mhm.
there,
Yeah.
cigarettes in their mouths, still
Mm,
drinking, doing the
mm,
slot machine, ding,
mhm.
ding, 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 right? And my daughter's like,
That's what it was when I went there however many years ago.
yeah,
So yes, you're describing
yeah. My
ex-
daughter's like, Dad, what are they doing? I went, listen, this is the lifestyle that they chose. I don't think they look particularly happy. And
who said this?
my daughter asked, why are there still people? Didn't they go to bed? I'm like, no, no, they did not go to bed. They've probably
Yeah.
been there all night, and that's, it's they seem lonely, they seem sad. I'm like, yeah, they chances are that they are those things. Um,
Mhm.
but that's where the convention centers are, so that's where the volleyball tournaments go.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love Lake Tahoe. Actually, we were talking about going back there.
Oh, it's
You
like
know.
half hour outside of Reno. Yeah, it's great.
Mhm,
And there's
mhm.
and what someone told me was
And
that
this is like a are you trying to get free plane tickets to back to Reno?
no, the Nevada side of Tahoe, of Lake Tahoe, tons of casinos, right? The California side, no casinos and
Mhm,
just like really nice ski lodges and stuff. So
mhm.
probably if I go to Tahoe, I'd stay on the California side and just keep that whole debaucherous element like
Tuck
kind
that
of
away.
across the border.
Mhm,
Yeah. But
mhm.
it was fun. It was a great trip. It was just me and my oldest, my wife and my youngest stayed here, stayed in LA. So we had a good time. I bonded with some dads. Like I'm not really into like new people, you know what I mean? But
Believe me.
but I
You know
mean,
what's funny?
yeah,
Not to cut you off, but
yeah.
my husband and I were talking, and to your point, and I said, "Well, I don't know how it came up, but I was like," he's like, "Well, you're the type of person where you just look like you're focused and like don't fuck with me," you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
and I don't mean to be that way, but I
yeah,
think I've become that way because I'm pulled in so many different directions just with the kids and with the house and with the career and with this and this. And it's like I have to be, it's hard to let it in. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like I don't know if that's your reasoning behind it, but like I don't, it's hard to suffer small talk. Like if you want to have a conversation, I'll have a conversation.
yeah.
But to have the small talk, it's so painful.
Yeah, but then interesting things happen, right? Like
I
what I was gonna
know.
say was that I wind up meeting really cool, interesting guys. Like one guy, a volleyball dad that I've seen for 8 months. So waving, nodding, whatever that kind of shit. he, he grew up like 2 towns over from me in New Jersey,
Exactly. I
right?
know.
And so we had
Exactly.
and then this other guy that I meet, super nice, kind of quiet, nice, really open and friendly, and I was dreading like the small talk because I'm an asshole, right? But I'm dreading the small talk. So I'm like, so hey, so what do you do? Most interesting job.
You started it.
Because we're just sitting there and I don't want to be an asshole. I have some social graces, believe it or not.
Mhm.
And I asked him what he does. Most interesting job of probably anyone that I've met in years. He has been directing the soap opera One Life to Live for 25 years. And it was the most interesting conversation about that entire world and the workload that this guy shoulders like on his own is fucking incredible. And he is an artist and he is a creative and and man, he knows his shit. And I just sat there just like, I couldn't ask enough questions. Like I was fangirling really hard, and I had to like slow my roll because I didn't want him to think that I was like, like making fun of him or something, because I was legitimately interested in everything he was telling me. And it was great. And so then we wound up.
Why would you think that he would think? I mean, this is like the
Because that
Jersey
happens to me
now.
sometimes. That happens to me sometimes because sometimes I ask the two questions that are maybe too penetrating, or that are too kind of outside of what someone would normally ask. Because like, what's the food like on set? Like, I seriously wonder, what catering is like on a soap opera set, right? Like the CBS, do they and they don't. He goes, there's nothing. You believe that? There's nothing. He goes, the show is such a moneymaker for the network, and we have to bring bag lunches. I find that fascinating because I was doing a show on the Fox lot, and I was like, oh, I've made it. I'm on a network show. Here we go. And so I didn't bring food. And then it's break time. I'm like, all right, what's for lunch? And all the main actors are like, oh, we got to walk to the commissary and get ourselves. What the fuck are you talking about? It was weird. So that I wanted to see if that kind of aligned, and it did. So just questions like that. And I just had a million of them, and it was great. And then we're sharing Ubers, and then, we go to dinner, and I'm like, I think I have a friend.
Well, hopefully he didn't see your yellow card.
They did. They did.
Oh my gosh. And what did he think?
No, I get it. This is my daughter's first year on the team. A lot of these parents have been there for a minute, and so they kind of understand things more than I do.
So they see you as the
I'm the rookie making rookie mistakes. Yeah.
Right.
That's
really,
okay.
I'm glad you made a friend.
Yeah,
Glad you made a friend, Branden.
Yeah. And there's another guy. I mean, I made a couple of friends, believe it or not.
Okay. You know what? I do believe it. What? I'm not teasing you. I mean,
I get it.
I mean, it's like a little gift that you didn't expect. It's always nice when that happens, right?
Yep. Yeah. All right. So, anywho, what I normally do when I start editing these episodes, is I Google the location, like the address, right? Just to kind of just to kind of get an idea, or I Google map it, or I whatever, so I can see where it's at. This is just a forest.
I know. It's funny because my dad had his 10-acre property like near here. So I was very familiar, and that's all it was. So I know these driveways. I know this,
If you Google Tenino Drive West, the Google Maps picture is like a burned out Studebaker, right? With with a tarp over it on a vacant lot surrounded by woods. Like that's it's very, very, very remote.
Very remote. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you heard the detective describing it like big parcels of land, not a lot of infrastructure out there, not a lot of light, just desolation. Not desolation. I mean, there's people that live there. So
it's beautiful. It's very, very beautiful, but it's like a sea of green. It's like the houses are like flotsam. You know what I mean? It's not like a traditional neighborhood. And so to the point of the lieutenant, he said, you would have to know the property to know where. So it felt like throughout this investigation, it really felt like the clues were hidden in plain sight with things like that, where it's like, to really know the property, you really would need to have lived around there. So that shows you that it's a local person. It's not someone, who isn't familiar with the area, as would bear out,
So it's the Carriega family, John and his wife. What's his wife's name? Katie? Crystal. John or Johnny and Crystal. And then they each brought a child to the marriage.
Yes. So they were a blended family.
They're a blended family, but the kids grew up like brothers.
Yes.
Jonathan and Hunter.
Yes.
Right.
Hunter made the 911 call, and Jonathan was working at the taco shop the night of the murders.
Okay. So it starts with that chilling 911 call of
I
a
know.
16-year-old kid dying, shot.
Yeah.
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 And then we learn more about the 911 call later. And so the cops show up. Eventually,
Mhm.
they find the living quarters on this kind of spread out, kind of remote property that had like a double wide, I guess, trailer.
It was like a manufactured home. So it looked like a home. It didn't look like a trailer,
Oh, okay, I got it, I got it. But
Yeah.
it comes pre-built, and they crane it in and do all. Okay,
Yeah, I mean, I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
know. Just when I saw pictures of it, it was like, okay, it looks like a home. It doesn't look like a double wide mobile home.
gotcha.
It looks
Okay,
like a manufactured home.
and then there's a big garage separate.
Yeah, there's like a separate, like one of those steel
Yep.
big things, and then behind it, another kind of one of those big steel kind of things.
Right, but within one of those big steel garages, they have a living quarters kind of partitioned off in the back,
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
like an
there is a
apartment.
living quarters. I don't know
Right.
where it is, but there's a living quarters. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And there was a fire.
Yes, which I can see, like, growing up, spending summers down there, in that area, not exactly there, but nearby. People would always be having fires. They're always burning stuff. You know what I mean? Like you have your burn
The
pile, and
burn pile, sure.
I feel like my dad was always burning stuff.
That
When I
is
was.
such. I'm sorry, and I don't mean this in the pejorative, but that is such a wonderfully redneck thing to have, is a burn pile. Put it on the burn pile. My dad had burn piles all the fucking time. I have a buddy lives up in Northern
Hey,
California.
you just broke up. I didn't hear you. You went out for a second. You said you were laughing at my dad's burn
No,
piles.
I said it's a wonderfully redneck thing to have on your
Yeah,
property, is a burn
yeah.
pile.
No, I know. Well, my dad was building his own house. I mean, he built the
Yeah,
whole entire thing by himself, right? And he had this shed that he built that was right by the house that he was going to build and did build. And then he would live on the property in like this, like, I don't know if it was like a mobile home or something like that, but he would always be burning stuff. And so when they came up to when they said that they thought it was a fire behind the house, I think that it makes sense to me that they thought it was either like a big old
yeah.
burning house, somebody burning stuff. But at midnight it's kind of weird.
Yeah, that's what would make me think that it wasn't a burn pile, and it wasn't. It was the house that was on fire.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so they find John and Crystal.
They find Jonathan, the 16-year-old boy Jonathan, and his mother Crystal, and they also find Hunter.
I'm sorry, they find the 16-year-old boy Jonathan, right?
Yes.
They find Crystal, and they find a Hunter. Which was the kid that was like surprised coming out of his room? Was that Jonathan?
That's Jonathan. Yes.
Jonathan. Okay.
Mhm.
And Crystal probably got it first.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then Hunter last.
Yeah.
He
A
made
couple
the call
hours later.
a couple hours later. And then so the dad, Johnny or John, he was found next day or a couple days later in his truck, burned out truck.
Yeah, he was found on Sunday. So the murders happened late Friday night or Friday night.
Friday night.
And
He was found
then
Sunday
he was found 2 days away, or 2 days later,
right.
on the
But
tree
the
farm.
owner of that property, they were able to get a timeline for Johnny
Yeah.
because
Mhm.
the truck wasn't there at this time, like on Saturday, and then it was there on Sunday. So it was
Yes.
sometime in there.
Yes.
Okay. And so then the investigation starts really in earnest because this whole family was wiped out.
I mean, I would think I mean, even though it was like a very rural place, it's not far from Seattle,
Yeah.
and it really made shockwaves for an entire family to be annihilated like that. And then the circumstances behind, okay, well, where's Johnny? And
Yeah.
then them thinking, was this, a triple homicide plus a suicide? That was something they had to consider, even though he
Yeah.
had this reputation of being an amazing father. And so they're looking for him. The media pleas are out. And then, everybody finds out, oh my gosh, he was murdered too. And he was found at this tree farm. And so what's interesting is that none of this, when I was speaking to that lieutenant in 2020, like all this stuff, I mean, they had announced the stuff about the banditos. So we talked about that. But I mean, even when I spoke to him, it was really scary because you don't know who you're dealing with. You don't know if the banditos are involved. You don't know. And they weren't talking about, we've since learned that bandito members were involved, but the banditos, the club itself, had nothing to do with it. Right. At least on the surface, who knows, that may change, but that's what the police are saying now. But, it's just really a terrifying story in the sense that people knew stuff, but were really afraid to come forward, and you could understand why,
Hey all, I'm Jamie Lynn Sigler, a mom, actor, and advocate. I know how overwhelming it can be trying to decide which treatment is right for you. I've been there. But you should know you're not alone. You can do this. Start with some research, talk to the community, and most importantly, don't be afraid to ask your doctor questions. You might find results that speak for themselves. That's how I landed on Kesimpta. Ask your doctor if Kesimpta, ofatumumab, could be right for you. You can check out the details at kesimpta.com.
Absolutely. The Banditos thing, I didn't see that angle coming at all. Didn't see it at all. No, that was great. When I was, I don't know, like 20 or 21, I discovered Hunter Thompson and took a couple months and like read everything that he wrote. And one of his, I think his first novel was he embedded himself with the Hells Angels in the late 60s, right? To write a book about that. And it was the definitive kind of work at that time on these outlaw motorcycle gangs. And I mean, so like legitimately dangerous, because, and this is, people are going to think I'm an idiot, but Gen Xers will understand this. My view of motorcycle gangs, for a very silly reason, was always satirical because of those Clint Eastwood movies, Any Which Way But Loose.
Of course. Yes. Right? I love this when I was a kid.
Right? Where that one motorcycle gang is always after him. That motorcycle gang was always after him.
We talked about this before. Yeah, yes.
They're always made fools out of. And so so it was really interesting reading Hell's Angels and seeing how serious they are as a criminal outfit. And one of the things I remember most from the book was there are only 3 rules for members in the Hells Angels. There are only 3 things. And then anything else is okay. Okay. All right, I got to remember them now. All right, one of them is, okay, I forget which is first, but the first 2 are, don't pull a gun on a brother. Okay, that's one. Never pull a gun on a brother. Anything else is okay, I guess. A knife, whatever, chain. Don't pull a gun on a brother. Don't mess around with another brother's woman. Because that could lead to breaking the first rule. Okay. Right. And then the third and most important rule is never, for any reason, ever, 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 is any brother ever to call the police on anything, for anything, at any time.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Any beef is taken care of within the organization.
Yeah. Did you ever watch the movie Mask?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Wasn't there like a motorcycle, but they were like, I think that there's like the bad motorcycle, and then there's this idea of the good motorcycles.
The 1%. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So I think
great. Wow, that was a great.
Oh, I know. Was it not good? Oh my gosh, it was so good. It was
Cher and Sam Elliott and
oh my gosh, I remember meeting Sam Elliott probably in 2019. I was working at the radio station, and I didn't even know that he was coming in. And then all of a sudden he came in to do some interview, and it's not like we got celebrities, coming in, because it was news and talk. So it wasn't, there was like local stuff, but no. And I just turned around and he just gave me that look, that look of like, can you just picture that smile that he gets on his face?
The charisma. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And I just looked at him and I was like, he's like, hi. Yes. Oh my gosh, right, exactly. And I was just like, it was awesome. It was absolutely perfect.
Did you see 1883? Did you see 1883?
I
on
loved
Paramount?
it, and I loved him in it, of
He was
course.
incredible. He cried the whole time. It was such a difficult role for. He was so good and so emotionally broken. That whole show, I can't imagine as an actor how difficult it was for him to maintain that character. Because I mean, he was in it.
He was
It was
broke. I mean,
amazing.
because his
Yeah.
family died, and
Oh,
I
just
know
the
it
whole
was so
thing.
great. And just, I mean, just him and Big Lebowski. I mean, we could go on and on.
Yeah,
I
he
love him. I absolutely love him. And that moment of meeting him and him saying that and smiling. I mean, he didn't even need the cowboy hat or whatever. But in Mask, I thought he was so dang cute. And
Oh, he was great. He was beautiful. Look at him.
I know.
Before he was the Silver Fox, he's still that black hair and that. I mean, yeah,
I know, but that look,
yeah,
the look that he
kind of
has.
cowboy outlaw look.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you still want to kind of hang out, right? You still want to like, hey, you might be dangerous, but you might not be dangerous, right? Yeah, I get it.
No. I think it's more like you might be dangerous, but I don't care. That's really, really what it was.
Yeah.
Riding around on motorcycles, like,
other than being the dumbest thing you can do health wise, but yeah, otherwise it's fun.
It's really fun.
Yeah. Fun.
Anyway, yeah. I have a couple motorcycle stories, but I'll spare you.
I have one. I got one motorcycle. I crashed one when I was 19. I never got on one again, and I won't.
And
I
that's
love motorcycles. I mean, that was my whole. I read Zen in the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance when I was 17, and I went, "That's it. That's my life."
Well,
Here we go.
my boyfriend tried to teach me how to ride a motorcycle one day, one time, and I'm sitting there trying to ride it. And I literally dumped it and then burnt the side of my cab on the muffler, and I was done. I was like,
"This is awful. Yeah,
this is not gonna work.
Yeah.
This is not gonna work."
I met a Hell's Angel once, like a real Hell's Angel. I was like
spit on myself. I wish people could have seen that look on you.
I was like 10 or 11 years old. Okay. Living in Jersey. Our across the street and down the block neighbor was a guy. He wasn't in that life, but he was kind of like adjacent to that kind of maybe criminality, but good dude, construction worker, right? And great friend of our families. And so he was getting married, and we had a wedding shower for him in our backyard. We had a pool. We had this big party in our backyard. And he's like, I'm having some friends come that are a little, they're fine. They're not going to do anything at your house, but in their lives, their professional lives, they're criminals. We're like, oh, who are they? He goes, well, there's this one guy who's a Hell's Angel, right? And my older brother was like, aha, I got to meet this guy. And so I was like I said, 10 or 11 years old, and my prized possession, I had this pocket knife. I had this knife, this buck
Oh
knife.
my gosh!
I loved this knife. I took it everywhere that I went. I was always in the woods, and I was carving shit and whatever. Okay. Thought I was a badass with this knife. And so my brother's like, you should show that knife to the Hell's Angel. You should like pull the knife on him and like, hey, here's my knife. And I went, yeah.
Your brother.
Oh, he was always trying to get me killed. He was always trying to get me killed.
Let me guess, you did it.
I did. I remember it exactly. I was in the side yard of my house. Here's this guy just all leathery and denim on leather, right? And like greasy hair. And, he's got the map of the fucking world on his face and just all wrinkly, right? And I go up, I go, hey, I live here. My name's Brandon. This is my knife. And I like show it to him. He goes, oh yeah? And he just opens his vest and he's got a pistol in his fucking waistband. I went, I peed a little and then like kind of ran off into the woods, and I was scared to come back for a long time. He didn't pull a gun on me for years.
He didn't need to.
No, but for years the story was this Hell's Angel pulled a gun on me in my side yard, but he didn't, and he was laughing the whole time. And he like showed, and I remember it was silver pearl handled, like 6-shot revolver. Like I remember it. I could draw a fucking picture of it. It scared the shit out of me. And I never told my parents. My mom would have lost her fucking mind. Yeah.
You never told her?
No, of course not. Are you kidding? No, I don't know who would have gotten it worse, me or my brother. Probably my brother for daring me to pull a knife on a Hell's Angel. But then it just would have made a scene, and my mom, it wasn't. He was harmless. He wasn't gonna,
No,
shoot.
I get it. It's just one of those things where it's like, somebody like takes their arm off, and like if they have an artificial limb and you don't know, and then you see it's like that type of a, when you're a
It
kid,
was
it's
shocking.
like,
It was
yeah.
really shocking because I had built it up in my mind. You're 10. He's gonna go, cool fucking knife, kid. Yeah, you want
Of
to
course.
hop on? Let's get out of here, right?
Oh my gosh. Of
Like I was going
course.
to the fucking circus or something, right? Like I was going to be a 10-year-old probie in the Hell's Angels.
No, you'd be a hang around.
A hang around. Yeah, a hang around. Wow. Gosh. All right, sorry. So we went way off topic there. But all right, so as soon as this biker gang gets on the police radar, that kind of shifts the investigation rather dramatically, right?
Well, it sounds like they were on the radar from the very beginning,
Because of
behind the
John,
scenes,
because of John's earlier kind of
because people were
activities.
calling in and giving tips, saying, "Hey, this Danny character," and then because the neighbor had seen Danny and he knew Danny because his family had lived there for years
Right. You know
before
what was
the
interesting?
kids.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but what was interesting was that for all this talk of motorcycle gang being involved, no one ever saw anybody on a motorcycle. Right? They were always in like a silver Prius or like a car or whatever. We couldn't identify the vehicle. There's this car. There's this car. Like they weren't rolling up on their hogs like blah, 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 right? That would have been a little obvious.
Yeah, I think
You know?
that in the context of like committing the crimes, they were smart enough to know
Yeah, exactly.
that probably doesn't work,
Would have been a
right?
giveaway. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think they were trying to not wear their jackets. I'm sure they weren't wearing their colors,
Yep.
when they
Yeah.
did this.
But the one guy was though, right? There was one guy that was identified because he was the probie in the bar or the hang around in the bar was
Mhm.
wearing
Yeah.
stuff that identified him.
But that was in the Target video. That was
Right,
in the
exactly.
Target video.
Yeah.
But like when they actually perpetrated the crime, I mean, I
Right.
think that they were like smart enough to know like, hey, but they were already connected. They were already connected tangentially through Danny. And I guess from right away, they had that lead. But I think that, unraveling it took so long. And then with people not too afraid to come forward, that
So
took
what was
so
the
long.
motive?
And then
What was the motive here?
the motive here, the way I've been able to piece it together, and I don't think they'll ever know exactly what happened. They don't know how Johnny got there, what they did. I'm sure that they believe that he was tortured. Like they wanted to know where the $200,000 was stashed.
So
They took his
robbery.
cocaine. And also a vendetta of like Danny hating Johnny because of their falling out.
Years before.
And
They were best
years
friends and then they
before.
hated each other. Right.
Right. Because, Danny, I'm sure as he got older and then saw Johnny's success, like he lived right next door to the taco shop and the espresso stand. He saw, I'm sure he heard about Danny or Johnny's cocaine dealings and the fact that he has this, he has the home, lives in the home where he used to live, and
Right.
he's successful. And maybe now Danny's middle-aged and he's just trying to he's a hang around, he's not really having success. And so this opportunity, kind of falls in his lap where Robert, who was being sold cocaine by one of Johnny's employees, suddenly they have a falling out and he's not going to sell cocaine, and then they get connected. And so then it all just kind of, it was for greed. It was, they wanted to rob him. But I think there was also, Johnny wasn't the type of person to take shit from anyone and was very protective of his family, but then also, he's going to stand up for himself. And Robert was expected as a full patched member that you had to talk to him in a certain way. And there was the egos involved, and Johnny wasn't the type of person to back down. So it sounds like, I'm sure Robert felt like as they were talking about drugs and stuff like that, maybe it just made it that much easier for him. But at the end of the day, they wanted to steal his money and his drugs, which they did. And they were willing to kill an entire family to do it.
That's where the vendetta comes in.
Yeah.
They're willing to take it to that extreme.
Mm-hmm.
There was also, I mean, listen, this is how you know some organized crime is involved here, because there was some, listen, albeit some kind of barbaric thought, but some thought put into it. Let's leave 50 grand behind so they don't think robbery is a motive, right?
Mm-hmm.
And kind of like cover our tracks like that. That's slightly sophisticated in the criminal world,
Mm-hmm.
like
Well,
when,
it shows restraint. I don't necessarily know if it's sophisticated, but I definitely think it shows restraint. But I think that they were blinded by their own greed. You know what I mean? Because it just, Danny with his relationship with Johnny, I mean, it's like,
yeah.
I just think that, there was a connection.
So who's in jail for this now?
So Danny Kelly and the brothers, Robert and Johnny Watson, were sentenced to found guilty for all of it. The whole entire thing.
It's
Four murders.
Murder one, first degree.
Arson, the first degree, aggravated.
Right.
But we don't have the death penalty in Washington State, so they're going to get life in prison without.
Bunch of hippies up there. All right, tree huggers.
Mm-hmm.
So they're doing life. So there's arson, there's premeditated first-degree murder, 4 counts of all that. But they think that there might have been other people involved, and they're not talking because of this kind of hillbilly.
I think that I can't even imagine what it took for them to put this case together. I mean, again, with the with the pings on the cell towers, that's how they were able to do it. With the burner phones. I mean, they
flipped a biker though, right? I mean, they had an informant.
They did
a fully patched member informing.
I don't know if he was fully patched, but he was definitely friends with both the Danny Kelly and, I mean, talk about how would you sleep at night knowing that you were playing both sides here? Would that be, I mean,
yeah,
I mean, that would be, I don't envy that position. You know what I mean? And so they were getting information, but how do you prove it? How do you prove it beyond a reasonable doubt? And I think that that's what took them so long to get there. Like, they knew kind of what happened, but there's still a lot of stuff they don't know. And to your point, they got a tip that 4 vehicles were seen outside of the tree farm, kind of like parked one behind the other. So they were clearly together. And it was around 4:00 on that Saturday. So he hadn't been seen. Johnny's truck hadn't been seen at around 1:00 on Saturday after the murders by the tree caretaker. But by like 4 that evening, 4 p.m., those trucks were seen. And so, they had to get his truck there, and the person who brought it there had to be driven away. I mean, unless he had a motorcycle in the back of the truck, which, I mean, there's more people know about this.
Yeah.
That's what they think. Now, whether or not they can bring a case against them, we'll stay tuned.
Wow. Well, hey, this was great. Like I said, the biker angle I didn't see coming. That was super cool, and an interesting kind of road to go down into that world of that criminal kind of underworld. Because these biker gangs, the 1%ers, they're fucking as dangerous as the mafia in terms of organized crime, and in terms of their organizational skills and the hierarchy of the ranks within the organization. I mean, they've in a lot of ways they have their shit together.
Yeah, one thing I did want to say is that I think that it's like it was brilliant how they used the media to completely.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? To get these guys going, and it worked.
They put the pressure on them. Yeah, that was really interesting.
And they didn't say. I mean, they were like really good at not giving anybody any information, but using the media to really apply pressure and to get those tips and to get. I mean, when that 911 tape with Hunter was released, I mean, anybody who hears that, you would have to just be just.
To not do whatever you could to help.
Yeah, to not come forward despite being afraid, and I think that they were very strategic about how they went about getting this information.
Yep.
So,
Well done. All right. Well, that was a great episode. Like I said, if you enjoyed it as well, faithful listener, head on over to Apple Podcasts and give us a rate and review. It helps us out more than you know. And please consider supporting the great companies that support what we do here, because without them, we couldn't do what we do here. So until next week, Carolyn, do you have anything you want to maybe tease us about for next week, or do we have to wait? You can keep us in suspense?
We're gonna keep in suspense here, but we do have a fun conversation that we had with somebody that we think that you'll be excited
we'll do that next week, huh?
Let's definitely do that. We'll put that
okay, cool. That sounds good. Yeah, you guys are going to enjoy that. Until then, I am Brandon Morgan for Criminal Mischief with Carolyn. Anything you'd like to add, Carolyn?
We'll see you next week.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Stay safe out there.
From Cloud 10, Criminal Mischief is a pie-in-the-sky production recorded in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. We're produced by Brandon Morgan and myself. Music by Soundstripe. I'm Carolyn Osorio, your writer and host.